Hey everyone, Mrhappy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mrhappy, aka Mrhappy Mondays, weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. So this week's back to being edited on YouTube, so no awkward staring at the camera for the first 15 seconds of the video. Although, to be honest, come on, you guys like it a little bit. Cleared Ultimate this past weekend. I'm so happy. I did it on Monk. Could have been better, but it's done. Keo put together a group where 5 of us had cleared, 3 of us had not. Myself, the Paladin, and the Bard had not cleared. And if you want to know how I felt, go watch the end of the kill video. Because in 2 simple words, go yes. Just make sure you turn your... It's kind of low when you listen to it, so make sure that volume-wise on your headset, you cover both ears and you turn it all the way up. That's why I would recommend to watch it, most likely. So, with that out of the way, we're going to do sponsors in the back half of the video, and we're going to jump right into the questions since I don't know how many I'm going to have. Okay, so first question. Hey, Mike, how's it going? It's going alright. It's going alright. I recently played the January Dissidia beta. I've never gone from something I was beyond hyped for to something I hated so quickly. So far, it's the most disappointing game I've played in a long time. It seems like everything I liked in the PSP game is gone. At least it looks pretty. I don't expect you to agree. There must be something you can relate to. So my question is, what's the most disappointed you've ever been with a game? Most disappointed? I'm trying to think of one, because I know there's one that came out in recent years. Aim Setsuna was really disappointing. What's a game I was, like, immensely... I mean, No Man's Sky is cheating if I make that my answer. What's a game... might be 1.0. I am someone who played 1.0. That might be the most disappointing purchase I've ever made in my life. So I'm gonna go with that at the. I'm gonna go with 1.0 as my most disappointing game of all time. All right, number 2. Hey, hello, Mrhappy, longtime viewer, first-time asker, so I have a bonus of my best wishes, and the best of wishes to you too. Good health and prosperity for you and your family. Live long and prosper. I miss him. Okay, a few 4.2 preparation questions. Great. I'm a ninja looking to clear Sigma Escape Savage in the first week. I'm not too rich. What gear slot would you recommend prioritizing for the new crafted gear? And when it drops, for example, should I grab the body or the legs first? Body and legs, usually a pretty reliable one to get. You sometimes have to consider the possibility of you getting your legs from the third fight. You may, if it comes down to you clearing the first few fights in the first few hours, then I probably wouldn't pick up legs. Body, by the time you get the body... from rating, you'll have beaten the whole tier. So the body is, at least for me, top priority, but it's going to come down to what's going to give you the most stats, really. That's why I just generally pick up the whole set, but if you're not too rich, then I guess it depends, because you could also grab a whole right side of accessories, but I guess, yeah, if you don't have a lot of money, if you can only make one, and also, you said you're looking to beat it in the first week. Are you planning on doing Byakko before that? Because if not, then the weapon's a possibility as well. A crafted weapon. Yeah, I mean, you have options for this right here. In terms of pieces, I'd say it depends on which pieces you get. Because if you go through the first one and you don't get any accessories, then you can get accessories. Then if you go through the second fight and you don't get any of that, then that opens up. And then the legs, you have an option of getting from the third one. Yeah, I don't know. That's tough. Like, I almost always go for my body and my legs first, but I also try to get a whole set at once. So in terms of just getting one piece and pentamelding it, I'm assuming you mean and pentamelding it, because like the crafted gear isn't like super worth it if you're not also gonna pentameld it. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I always just get whole sets. I don't know what the budget idea is. Accessories are probably cheaper also. I mean, maybe. I don't really know. And we don't know what they're going to be like, how hard they're going to be to craft. Probably not hard at all. So, yeah. I mean, accessories will also get you a little bit more leeway, I guess, because you're probably not going to want to spend pages on a weapon. And then if your weapon drops... There's so many unknowns here because of the whole pages going into it. If you're looking for one purchase and one purchase only, you only want to get, let's say you only want to get a single item, I'd grab the body. Assuming the legs don't have like insane stats. If you're looking to only purchase a single piece and nothing else, probably the body. And again, I'm assuming you're gonna try to get the Byakko weapon as well. Would you consider crafting gear mandatory to get a week 1 clear of 08 Savage? It's probably not mandatory, but every little edge counts in the first week. And it all depends on what they do DPS-wise. Normally, it's a close enough check where, yeah, you really do want every possible statistic edge. But it's more so because while you're learning the fight, you're probably not playing at your absolute best. You should try to, but as you become more comfortable with a fight is really when DPS starts to really get up there. And generally, you clear a fight when everyone's hit a comfortable enough point to clear the fight with what is considered minimum, not necessarily what their best could possibly be. But if you're pugging, you're probably not going to pug all of these in the first week. Absolutely meld Vitality on right side stuff. You can't meld it on left side stuff. It can't be done because your Vitality is always going to be capped on left side stuff. I just want to thank you for all your hard work in streaming content creation. 14 related. Hope your brand flourishes over the many years to come. Thank you again for the kind words, and hopefully that was a decent enough answer. And that the body, as long as you're going to get the Byakko weapon, get the body. That's the answer again. Number 3. Hey, Mr. Happy, final sim here, and welcome to Mondays with Mr. Happy. Okay, Mr. Happy, Mondays week, you ask questions, you answer them. Hey. Recently, psychiatry doctors released a statement that states of gaming addiction is a real disease disorder and as such requires treatment by specialists. Do you believe that? Yes, I do absolutely believe that, like other addictions, it can lead to negative effects if you're somebody who lets it. It's not I don't know why it's released a statement recently. That's something that's been like known for like a long time. Yeah, it can be pretty crippling to your life if you let gaming addiction, but it's usually a sign of some other sort of problem with somebody. A lot of the times gaming addiction can be born from like depression or loneliness, and a desire to fit in. I know it was like that for me growing up. Nowadays, it's been my avenue to meet people and to talk to people. So I kind of flipped and turned it upside down when it came to that one. But yeah, no, I absolutely 100% believe that treatment by specialists is something that some people and certain gaming addictions could definitely lead to needing that. Whatever happened to net neutrality Battle for? It's at this point right now the Senate is looking to vote it out. There's no real movement you could do that wasn't like it is before. You could still be calling members that are sitting on the seats, but you're not calling the FCC anymore. You're calling the representatives that are in the Senate. They have 50 votes last I checked, which is split dead even, but with the government shutdown right now, who the fuck even knows how that's going to work. I'm sure someone's going to need to explain it to me in terms of government shutdown plus this right here. So we couldn't have won the FCC battle. I think we all kind of knew they were just straight up ignoring all the FCC comments, except for the 2 women that were on the FCC lineup of the 5. But the Senate, 1 Republican away from clearing the vote right now. It's split 50-50. So never stop calling. Just never stop calling and letting them know what you think about it. And 3, can you play 11 without a subscription? No. That's it. No. All right, number 4. Haps. I know players hate the cash shop, but this is a legit question. If SC is wanting to make a bit extra money, wouldn't it be a good thing to eventually add the minions from the bonus artwork, soundtrack, plush toys into the cash shop, maybe after 1 or 2 years? I mean, yeah, they could also have added the items from the previous FanFest is another one. You know, like the Moogle outfit stuff. They could. Will they? Who knows? Because then you always got to deal with the people who are like, oh, but I purchased it when it was relevant, and now I could have just waited, and you know, it's always that thing. I don't care. It's the fucking digital items. I can't be asked to care. Yeah, they could if they wanted to, and there are people who want them. So yeah. All right, number 5. Hi, Mr. Happy. No, it's Mr. Happy. I'm not a bunny. Look at me. I have a very important question. Can I join your hip and hap raid team for 4.2 and even kick my salt and pepper seal to mercy? Also a proper question. Okay. Do we have 4.2 to do Sigmascape normal? No. Sigmascape, all the raids are not part of the main story. So other than completing the initial expansion story, aka 3.0, 4.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, etc. No, you don't. There's no main scenario requirements at all. All right, number 6. Oh man, that's a lot of text. Oh Jesus. Okay, they look like easy questions though. Hey Haps, you doing alright? You're not high this time. You doing alright? I'm doing alright. You doing alright? You doing high? Hey, the Labo comes out on 420. Anyway, thanks for answering my question last week, and please take this bonus of a small shock device that will perform a 11 bolt on Sly. That's not how you spell his name. Every time he says Eureka's in 4.3. All right. Congrats on clearing Ultimate Bahamut. I've got some new questions this week. About 14. I thought you were saying about 14 questions. I was about to lose my mind. I was like, no, I only see 6 here. I know that buffs affect your dots even after they fall off, but what about debuffs like bosses like Trick Attack and Slashing? Yeah, so if you apply a dot during a 10% Trick Attack window, I'll just use that since that's the most common one. Fucking ninjas. Yeah, your dot will continue to benefit from the Trick Attack until the dot itself is refreshed or falls off. 2, speaking of buffs, what if buff falls off in the middle of your cast? Hey, you have to finish it. You have to finish the cast before the buff goes all the way, or it's not gonna do it. That being said, if you start an animation while a buff is available, like let's say you have an instant cast ability, and before you see the damage number pop up, it will have captured it then. So it's only like cast times. Like if you're 0.5 seconds into a Fire 1 cast and you finish the Fire 1, terrible example, you won't keep the buff all the way through that cast, pretty much. Is it safer to shoulder tackle the boss during his attack animation if the attack cast bar has finished? So some enemies, there's a slightly different rule. Some enemies, like, even though the cast bar is finished, for some reason, they separate the animation and the cast bar, and most enemies in the game, it's not like that. As soon as the cast bar is finished, as long as you were out of range, it's generally acceptable to shoulder tackle back to a boss. But keep in mind, on a boss-to-boss basis, sometimes that ends up not being the case. It's really weird when it doesn't end up working out that way. But, keep that in mind, that it's not 100% true. It's only mostly true. 4, during fights, sometimes I find myself in situations when I need to move to do a positional, but my GCD is ready, so basically I need to either wait. Never wait to use a GCD. The answer is never hold a GCD for a positional. Because every time you... Imagine you do what you just suggested 3 times in a fight. You lost the whole GCD. Wasn't worth it. Do it 6 times, 2 GCD. I mean, at 6 times, you're burning even more than a GCD, because, for example, on Monk, I've like a just over 2-second GCD, so at that point it's bordering 3. Yeah, never hold GCDs for positionals. Just put yourself in the position. If the boss is making it impossible, too bad. And then let's see. Number 5. I know you're not a samurai main, but I have a question. I probably won't have a good answer then. It's better to use my jump away attack and buff my range, but I might be in the middle of my rotation. Buff lasts pretty long. So I don't know how people... I think the only time it's worth doing the jump back attack is if you're actually moving out of an AoE, and you'll be able to move back in. Because I think that I don't know enough about Samurai. It's been too long since I've played it, but I remember the way it used to be is that you never just used that because you could use it. There was like a specific like condition you had to meet for that to actually be a DPS increase. Especially because you'll lose an auto attack in there from being out of range, maybe 2 if it's really bad timing. So I think you have to be dodging something in melee range for that to be worth it. And even then, I think there's still more specific to it. If you can't go... Okay, so I have my Twitch chat here. It's only worth doing if you can't go back to the boss within 1 GCD. Okay, meaning that you wouldn't have lost the GCD. They would have lost the GCD anyway. So that's what it means. Okay, so that's your answer. It's only worth doing if you can't go back to the boss within a GCD. I knew there was a condition, but there you go. 6, final question for now. Thanks for bearing with me. I heard different comments and want to know finally the truth. During 24-man raids, when you use foes, does it only benefit your alliance or all 3? Should be all 3. Debuffs on an opponent should affect all 3. Buffs to your party should... Who told you that that doesn't affect... Who told you this? Tell them they don't know what they talk. Tell them that the other songs that buff party members, that's only your party. Foes is a debuff on an opponent. That's gonna help everyone. Alright, number 7. Howdy, Mr. Happy. Hey, I don't know why I didn't say it like I normally do. I was saddened to see that the Stylus 4.2 is a masked man and not a young fashionista named Bridget. Regarding games with huge character rosters, have you played Radiator Stories? No, I have not. What I was saying about Alexander's hand changing physical access to space when I got the second character hand lens notes between 2 times the torso has replaced Brock. Yeah. Yeah, no, I know. But it's still the same amount of space taken up. So that was the whole point. So fancy submarines have workout areas and the like them. Apparently the MVCPS is the Blitzball. Damn it. Alright. Okay. So fancy submarines have workout area. Okay. No, they're not gonna play. Is there a question here? Also, could you ask Sly in exchange for his tackle box? They'd be willing to have live bait decay and die over time inside of it. No. Was there a question here? I'm gonna include this in the video. But was all this for a Blitzball setup? I guess this technically is a real question right here. I'll take it. I'll take it. Alright, number 8. Hey, Mr. Happy, how you doing? How you doing? You doing alright? You doing alright? Finger guns. Coming at you, it's a bit of a dilemma. I know what I gotta do, but the problem is the execution of it. All right, these kind of questions are normally, you know what you... didn't you already say, I know what I got to do? All right, so if my answer is what you know what you got to do, then you got to do what you got to do. Oh, I already know where this... I read the first 6 questions. I have this first 6 questions. First 6 words, and I knew where this was going. I recently joined a new free company, that's primarily full of newer players. Thought I could do some good in the world and help said newer players. That's all going fine, but I've noticed some more experienced players within the FC doing different things regarding extreme primals and raids. Now, after seeing this, figured I would try and start a free company static, but it keeps super casual, like once or twice a week. I would like your input. Okay, this actually didn't go any way in the direction I expected it to go. I would like your input on how to approach this with the idea, because I know a majority of them have jobs and work during the week and have families and whatnot. Literally, you're doomed. If you try to put together a, quote, free company static, and you call it that, don't call it that, then everyone in the free company is going to be like, well, why wasn't I included? Even if their schedule doesn't line up, they're going to wonder why they weren't included, or they're going to feel like they weren't included, and it's going to lead to some things. I almost just feel like you, instead of making a static, just make nights where groups within the free company can be made. If people can't make it, they can't make it. That sucks, but they can't make it. Don't even call it a static. Just be like, yo, anyone in the free company on these nights, you want to learn how to do this extreme primal. You want to do this on, you want to try this fight. You want to try 01 Savage for the first time. You know, like, do it like that. Because as soon as a static implies that it's inclusive, and when people feel excluded from things, it generally causes drama. So that might be your best bet, instead of doing like a dedicated, like, hey, it's always the same 8 people. It's definitely going to slow progress for all those people. And you know what? Raiding in general and doing encounters in general causes drama, so keep that in mind. But I think that's your best bet. All right, question number 9. Oh, please. I see who's asking. Hey, man, I was wondering if you would be up for not reading the questions ASAP on your Monday shit. What? Wait, huh? For not reading the questions ASAP. I listened to it at work at 77 time. I have no idea what the question was, because you talk with 500% speed. That's because, dude, we got shit to do. We gotta go. I should have read your question that fast. I was wondering if you'd be up for not reading the question ASAP on your Monday show. That's it. Beginning to feel like a rap god. I can figure out the question after you answered it, though. Still wanted to mention, please no be mad. I'm going fast. That's it. We got shit to do. So I just read your question at 500%. So that kind of works, right? Hey, Mr. Haps, first time asker. So you're gonna have like 5 gil as a bonus, I guess. I'm broke, so I ain't got much to give. But don't give me money. Give me yeah, I guess give me your money. Fuck it. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. Was there a topic at hand in the first place? With Eureka coming in 4.25, they mentioned that the relic would be upgraded with elemental stats, so it would like maybe change the glow of the weapon. Oh, you're asking what do I think the elemental stats do? Appearance-wise, I think it's an okay idea, but for the armor, that gets a little weird, because generally people like when armor's dyeable, not have the element determine the color. Elemental levels are something they say you'll need for the specific bosses inside. Some bosses take more damage from a specific elemental, or some bosses deal less damage to a specific elemental. I just imagine it's going to play into actually completing objectives in the zone, and not so much have anything to do with the actual building of the relic weapon and armor. The other reason for that is that they've reiterated that the Eureka was not developed for the relic weapon and armor. The relic weapon and armor are present inside Eureka. So because of that, I don't want to imagine that it's that closely ingrained with the elemental level, unless they made a change in design direction since that point. Number 11. Hey Haps, long-time watcher, first time asking. Have a bonus of playing Monster Hunter a week early. Well, at the time of reading this, that's already not true. I mean, the open beta is still Nergigante. Congrats on the ultimate clear. Thanks. Oh, this was yesterday. Never mind. Well, as of yesterday, it was already not a week. Now this makes even less sense. I have 2 questions regarding housing in 4.2. One, with the restrictions set in place that people can't buy a personal house for a set time, currently own a medium house, but would like to move from the location. Does this restriction not apply to players wanting to move? So that is correct. Relocation is unaffected by the personal house purchases. If you currently own a house, you are eligible to relocate to one of the new houses in the new wards in the next patch. As for 2, by me owning a medium house and I want to use the move feature, and I'm bound to, so I don't know enough about the move feature to answer this. What I would do I think the move feature was implemented in the same patch as Kugane. I would read all the rules on relocating in the patch 4.1 notes. I think it was in 4.1 or 4.11. I don't know how it works. I don't own a house. I didn't move a house. I'd imagine you're not limited. I'd imagine it just builds the same type of house that you had, because all your items are going to go into the dude who holds your items, I guess is his name. He's going to have all your stuff, but no, I don't think you're limited, because I think you're paying for the space that you're going to anyway, so I don't think it particularly matters. So no, I don't. I think you're limited, but my suggestion would be to go read the patch notes where relocation was implemented, and that will explain everything perfectly clearly. All right, number 12. Hey, Haps, sup? How you doing? I'm doing all right. You doing all right? I'm doing all right. You doing all right? How you doing all right? It's been a while, so I have a stack of the new 4.2 tomestones on me. That's cheating. I'll take it. Just a couple things. One, someone's bound to ask, so I'll do it. With 4.2 limit close, what item level you believe we'll get from the dungeons, 05 to 08 normal, and savage, etc. So dungeons, I think... I haven't been paying attention to the trends. I think those are 335 for their item level. 05 is absolutely going to be item level 250. 05 through 08 normal is going to be item level 250. Byaku's weapon, I'm sorry, 250? 350. Is going to be, Byaku's probably going to be 355 for the weapon. I think that Savage is going to be 370, and the Savage weapon is going to be 375. I don't think that would be a surprise. The dungeon's the only one I'm not sure about, because I remember in Heaven's Word, one time they threw me for a loop on the dungeon progression, where I expected it to be a certain item level, but it wasn't. And so I'm trying to remember what it was. I was like, oh no, there's no way they'll do that. And then they ended up doing something that like surprised me a lot. So it's either 330 or 335, but only because I don't remember. If I just went and looked, generally all you have to do is go look at what they did in the past, and that's the answer. So there is an answer out there. Just off the top of my head, I don't know if it's one. It's one of the two. That's it. I'll go with one of the two. As for Tombstone gear, unupgraded 360, upgraded 370. Pretty obvious. Related to the above question, how much will it affect materia slotting? Not much. Will direct hit still be the top left side choice? No, so one of the big things is right now, even if you're in a group composition that has lots of crit synergizing buffs, Dragoon, Scholar, Bard are the three primary examples, then crit is already a pretty desired stat. For some other jobs like Monk and Bard, it was already the primary desired stat because it has synergy with their kit. Crit in general should really start to scale up in this patch in particular, and then even more so in 4.4. Unless direct hit gets some sort of direct change, then crit should really start moving its way up, especially when working with compositions that are like that one. Will tenacity finally not be scoffed at? I can't make any promises. Listen, until tanks have something above a base of 0 for direct hit. That's the reason direct hit's so strong for tanks. Which actually might have been your real question, still be the top left side choice. Because I think that actually might have been more direct the question, since you're asking about tenacity also. The thing with direct hit is that the tanks have a base of 0. They have no direct hit. So giving them direct hit, I think it's like 14% or even higher or something like that. Giving them 14% direct hit with the proper melds with crafted right side and all on the left side, that's insane. And there's not enough damage in the game to warrant wanting the little bit of mitigation you get from tenacity. So I think it's still gonna be direct hit for tanks altogether. Let's see. And remember, friends don't let friends play blitzball unless you're trying to drown them. You think Kefka will have a 60-bit laugh? I think they'll give him a new one, but I think for the trailer specifically, they use the 16. It'd be really weird for them to keep the 16-bit laugh, unless they like don't use it in the fight and they use it somewhere else. As cool as it is, it just doesn't make sense when he's like that 3D'd out, you know? All right, number 13. Hello, Mr. Happy. Hello. First, I would like to say I thoroughly enjoy your content. Look forward to it every week. I feel like, oh, I know you. I know you. You're one of our sponsors. This is the first time I've ever asked you a question. And I have 2. Greedy. Now you're good. My first question is, I noticed in the video for the live letter when you're doing the new gear rundown that red mage gear and black mage summoner gear was separate. So I think the big thing was, and I made note of it when I looked at the tanks later, was that one of those was tombstone gear and one of those was raid gear. So it's not so much that red mage, black mage, and summoner were different. It's that the red mage had one of the sets on and that the black mage later had the other set on. That was a mistake I made because I looked, remember I was like, Paladin, Dark Knight, why do they have, oh, that's right, 2 different sets. Made the most sense. My second question is, DPS means damage per second, and DPS is what DDs, damage dealers, do, so why do call classes Black Mage and Dragoons DPS and not DDs? So DPS was generally a term that was used for jobs that didn't do large bursts of damage, and DD was used for jobs that they didn't have much DPS, but they did a lot of damage. It was just all at once. The term now, because damage output is put out so frequently in modern MMOs. That's why the term DPS has become more important, because the number of actions taken per second is so high that everyone's effectively doing DPS. You don't take a black mage because the fire 4 hits really hard all at once, because they're doing a fire 4 after a fire 4 after a fire 4, fire 1, fire 4, fire 4. You know what I mean? It's not like they're doing like 1 fire 4 every 15 seconds and it does a ridiculous shit ton of damage. So that's the big reason why that shift of terminology has moved out. They're technically both accurate. DPS is what damage dealers do, as you said. And it's not inaccurate. It's just what's become the modern accepted term. All right, oh my word. There's a lot of text in this one. Hi, Haps. Hello. Thanks for answering my question last week about streaming and ignoring negativity. Got a couple more for you today if you've been kind enough to answer. Oh, you have more than a couple, my friend. Also thought I'd share another MMO with just a dungeon challenge, as you've seen you and Sly talk about a lot on Stay of the Run. So 1, with regards to 4.2 and 2 dungeons and trial, do you believe one or both of the dungeons will be needed to advance the MSQ? So normally I say yes to this. Because of the way things went at certain points in Heavensward with things like the Anti-Tower, Hell's Lid, they've said, somewhat ties into the 4 lords. So when I don't think Fractal will have anything to do with the story. I don't think they can swing that. But when they said that, when they said Hell's Lid's story and the story of the 4 lords would be combined, it almost made me think that that was a quest before Byakko. That's tough for me to call for once. Generally, I want to say yes, Hell's Lid would be part of the story. But I don't feel 100% confident about that. Like, that's where my money would go. I think Hell's Lid will have themes that play into the 4 lords, but that the 4 lords is still something that is separate from Hell's Lid itself. So I'm going to say Hell's Lid probably part of the main scenario. But Jade Stoa, completely unrelated. You won't have to do anything main scenario related for the Jade Stoa. What do you think will be the unlock requirements for dungeons? Dungeons are always just, if they're not main story, they're literally like, here's this dungeon, go do it. Fractal Continuum hard mode, probably will have to go beat Fractal normal. That's usually a normal thing for hard modes, so there you go. And 2, as a follow-up to last week, when it comes to video and sound editing, if I'm planning on doing it just as a beginner, do you have any suggestions as to free software? I don't know any free software. Ever since I did this, I've always paid for whatever software I use, so I actually have no... For sound clipping and editing, Audacity comes to mind. For videos, does Windows have something built in that you could do? That's about it. That's about the only thing. I think Windows Movie Maker. Is Windows Movie Maker free? I think Windows Movie Maker is free. I don't recommend Windows Movie Maker, though. I don't recommend it. Oh, man. So play 14 to play DC. Oh, God. This is a lot of story. I think I've got enough questions where I don't think I have time for the story, because other than acknowledging that it's an idea, I don't think I could feasibly add anything to the conversation. So thank you for your questions. All right, number 15. Hey, Haps, have some ultimate congratulations. Hey, and a fun fact. Did you know that Dromark in Xenoblade 2 is called Byakko in Japanese? Yes, we're fighting Dromark in 4.2. One of the least annoying characters in that game. Let's get to the roulette and suplex the train. So we have an AI comparison. I think I asked that one before and it wasn't picked, and the new mount. I don't want to pick the new mount because 2 of the 3 mounts I know, and the 3rd one I have no idea. So I'm going to go with an AI comparison. Which AI is more dump? Not dumb, dump. Like anal dump. 15 or Xenoblade 2? I'm going with Xenoblade 2. And 15, there are 2 aggro is the #1 problem. In Xenoblade 2, they're not aggro enough. In Xenoblade 2, you're trying to maintain, like, a group dynamic, and when Nia won't grab your fucking potions, you just want to stab her. When they walk to the edge and fall in the water, you just want to stab them. I'm going to go with Xenoblade 2. I've never wanted to stab my bros in 15. I've just been like, they're dead. Hello, Donald. And in Xenoblade 2, I actually want to kick them all in the face. Number 16. Hey, Haps, if I hit this skip ad button after 5 seconds, do you still get paid the same? That seems like it's a silly question, but it's not bad. With ad revenue, yeah, there's so many different elements to it. You technically do. Obviously, it's less. Obviously, you're doing it out of convenience, and that's what results to it. But I don't think anyone should ever encourage, like, going to go around this, since this question almost is asking if you should. It almost seems like the real question is, should I watch the whole ad if I want to support you? I'd say no. Ad revenue is shit no matter how you do it. Like, it's all about the amount of traffic. Like, all right, thank you, LA. There's so many different things. The region of the watcher, was it an English-speaking ad or another ad? Because that usually depends on how much money was paid for the ad space. Was there audio on for the ad? You know, was the tab even open? Was it just in an alternate tab? Did you actually click the ad? Did you buy something from the ad? There's so many factors, and it's just like, just do whatever works for you, man. The only thing I'd say is, like, just don't ad block it. Like, that's about it. Skip it at 5 seconds. Sorry for the occasional 15 or 30 second unskippable that you get, but that's about it. Like, half the time videos are demonetized anyway. It doesn't even fucking matter at this point. So that's it. Number 17. Hey, Haps, how you doing? I'm doing alright. Doing alright. So last week you answered my question regarding Ninja being OP. So their enmity tools basically make them super valuable. My question is, with the changes to diversion, as well as the fact that tanks have shirk and most classes have built-in enmity reduces, are enmity utility from Ninja really that make or break for a comp, or is it more community mentality that tanks need to have it to perform optimally? I also agree that Trick is one of the best damage buffs in the game currently, but wouldn't bringing the other utilities up to its level be more enjoyable for everyone than nerfing Trick? The problem with that is, unless you just give everyone Trick, you're not bringing everything up to Trick. Hypercharge is already, like, kind of one of those other, like, insanely good damage utilities, but for this, so it's still going to, like, let me be clear about this. The reason for having the Ninja as my monk, who has had enmity issues in the past, the Ninja wasn't to level out the monk. The Ninja was busy doing other things. When I think of 04 Savage in particular, with all the enmity resets in that fight, it's a big deal. Whenever there's, like, an ad that you want to burst enmity onto a target, that's another place. And then anytime you want your tanks, specifically your tanks, to be in DPS stance as often as possible, and for your healers to be outputting as much DPS and heals as needed, then that's where Shade and Smoke really come into play. Shirks generally do enough in most circumstances. A shirk and like a normal tank swap is generally enough, but when you're trying to squeeze out as much as possible, you end up wanting the Shade and the Smoke to make that go as smooth as possible. So that's I mean, that's a big thing. Trick's great. It's always going to be great. And I do think the diversion buffs are good, and they're somewhat of a move away, but it's not all about tanks versus, like, the monk and the samurai that were doing insane deeps. It's about the tank healer balance and remaining in DPS stance as often as humanly possible. So, I mean, that's really the big thing, and I'm still going to try to go monk in 4.2. I'm playing ninja, like, technically I'm monk until ninja's needed, or if ninja's needed, and then I'm ninja. But a monk. Yeah. Number 18, Hiya. Hey, I forgot to give you a bonus. It's not owed. For the first post, I have a day of relaxation of what are your wait, what? Have a day of relaxation of what are you want? Whatever, but saying, okay, whatever you want, but say, okay. I was like, what are you want? What? So apostrophe RE, and that's where my brain went. Not whatever you want, which is what it actually was. Couple questions. Because of gear being at 330, I'm getting a ton of gear coffers I never open or use. If you toss those, you could still buy the gear from the Calamity Salvagers. So yeah, you could toss those. Also, do you think we'll ever get an Alfie portrait like the leaders in the Silence? Yeah. Yeah. Those are 2 easy questions. The answer is yes and yes. And this is the last question on the forums. Hello, mister. Hello. I've got a downer question. I'm at my wit's end and I'm hoping to reach out to the community may help. For weeks now, I've had a bully on the game. I've gone through all the channels I'm supposed to for harassment, and as such, I'm primarily cursed at the end over Discord. There's very little I can do in-game. Square's policy is to not use outside programs to be used in an investigation. I completely understand that. This is now affecting my health as I have PTSD, among other things, and this is the game. Few friends I have are my only respite. I ignore and I block, but I still have messages get through. I have lost my FC, my LS, and my house along with my stuff. If this is one guy, if these other people, if these people are your friends and they're trying and they're your fucking friends, they should be the ones taking care of this for you. Shouldn't be me. It should be those people that you're saying that these are your few friends that you have on the game. They should be the ones helping you through this shit. So the big thing is that if somebody really wants to be a piece of shit, they're always gonna be a piece of shit. That's life. That's a fact. We've seen that non-stop growing up. We've seen that whether you've been a part of it on either side. People who want to be a piece of shit are generally going to be a piece of shit. Because that's the only way they get any enjoyment out of life. And no reaction or ignoring them is one of the best ways to do it. If you ever express any sort of like discontent towards what they're doing, they go, yeah, it's working, yeah. And they fucking jerk off to it, and they just come on their own faces and lick it off because they're shitty people. But anyway, moving on from that, there is also one other thing down here that I was asked for this. No, I can't do that because that's not going to be good. Yeah, I mean, I would just keep... My answer to the thing that you asked me not to read on stream is report them. There you go. I mean, the best thing to do is try and ignore and just spend time with your friends, and that's it. And eventually they get bored and they move on with life. That's it. Like, that's this. Just take some solace knowing that all they're doing is jerking off and jizzing on their own faces. That's like the one solace you have, because that sounds gross, and it probably is, but that's the kind of fucked up person that they are. So, you know, that's all they got going for life. That's it. That and what they're doing. That's it. Just think about all the things you got going. And the good things that you have and the good vibes that you have, and focus on those good vibes, and just don't jerk off and jizz on your face, and you'll be fine. That's it, and you'll have a much happier life. So that's to make light of a heavy situation. Now just keep thinking about that's all they do. It's like, look, it's like when you get nervous and you imagine someone naked. Don't imagine this guy doing those things, but know that he's doing them. So that's it. That's all there is. That's all there is to it. So anyway. But that's gonna be the last question over on the forums. Can I really even take Twitch questions after that? Yeah, I'll take some Twitch questions. Come on, Twitch chat. What do you got? Alright, so the first question I have from the chat is, what do you think of Square Enix picking Kefka as the new Omega content? And how do you think they can top Kefka, of all things? Really hard to do. I don't like it. I think it's, I don't like it. I don't like Omega. I like Omega's story. I like what they're trying to tell with him. And conceptually, it's fine. But I can't stand taking final bosses from previous games, putting a paragraph of speech regarding what they were, or what their intended methods were, or what their ultimate goal was, and then saying, yeah, here you go, for fan service. Like, when I look at Cloud of Darkness and the Crystal Tower, I look at how ingrained they were and how impressed I was that they managed to make the Crystal Tower make perfect sense and integrate it so well into Final Fantasy XIV's world. And with Kefka, it's like, they're going to tell us, they're going to give us a paragraph, this motherfucker was crazy and wanted to destroy the world. And yeah, Kefka, Omega remade it, and so here's this dude. That's it. That's so boring. That's so boring and uninteresting. All for his tournament, his anime tournament arc. I don't mind the other bosses because Final Fantasy has bosses from other Final Fantasies all the time. Most of the time they stick to the inconsequential ones unless they want to explain it well. And this is just, they were like, you know what? We want to get more subscribers. Let's just throw like X-Death and Kefka and just nostalgia at people. Like, and just meaningless nostalgia with no reasonable, cool explanation as to why it fucking exists. So, I'm not happy with it. And how will they follow it up? We all know the answer to that. They've shown no disregard for it thus far. They'll just put Sephiroth in the game at some point. I'm more excited about Kefka, but let's be honest, more people would be excited about Sephiroth. More people played 7. More people have a childhood emotional connection to 7. So there you go. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm going for. Not a fan. I didn't say that, Hammer. I said how they one up it. They'll put him in the game at some point. I'm going to clarify that. Just to clarify, I don't think Sephiroth will be the last boss of the final tier of Omega. That's just not... It's going to be Omega. All right, just calm down. But they'll put him in the game at some point. If you think they're done making excuses to put him in the game, you're wrong. All right, that is going to be the last question then. I answered a ton of questions. I was having it off a little bit about some of the questions and some of the things I've been answering, but those are gonna not be in the video. So I'm just gonna wrap up with whatever question came before this one. So thank you for watching, everyone. Another week of Mondays with, excuse me, I had to burp there, Mrhappy. Before we get going, we got to thank our sponsors, of course, those who have supported us over on Patreon to counter #demonetized. I literally did an entire skit 3 times in this talking about jerking off and jizzing on your own face. That kind of stuff gets demonetized on YouTube now. So, thanks for the people who are sponsoring over on Patreon so I can keep saying things like that. Hey. So, we have our standard sponsors up first. And again, if you've pledged and you have not given me a name, it's probably missing from here. Some people I managed to include because I can kind of just assume what they may want it to display as. But always send me a message and know if you want me to display your name, your server, whatever it is it's actually going to be. So we have Cidus Oreo on Shiva. We have Syd Hellwind of Gilgamesh. We have Afro Ninja from Malboro. Cheesecake from Leviathan. Sploda. That lame Weeb. Ashen, Emiya of Cerberus. Argoti, Fafarian, Rendil, Giraffeswillrule, Stevie-Rex, and Neon. Those are our standard sponsors. Our elite sponsors, Skia Symphonia from Ragnarok, Rah Xephon from Exodus, Rynoet Westos, the Purple Warrior, Eadric Redsteel on Exodus, Lexxie Valentine, Mantaru the Rivivus Free Company from Zodiark, Marsh-Teki, Ellisan Le'ore from Balmung, Sour Cream and Chives from Jenova, Goetia Valfer of Siren, Hirschfirsch of Fairy, Phoenix Free Company on Goblin, Serren from Zodiark, and Rynoet Chikara. Then we have our premium sponsors. We have Mustang. We got the Serenity Free Company on Ultros. Cat Kazuma, Kiriyoshi, and the Reckless Tea Party on Cactar. Ignis Fairgun from Diablos. Velestra of Famfrit. Nocticordis from Excalibur. Krovos Moonscar. Nakuniame of Balmung. Iran the Avon Blanc Free Company on Zodiark. Johnny Odin of Taberry. Private Mikey. Aqua Sacrifice. Spike. Nadi and Kirasame, Rudy Rudiger, Tin Colossus, Killer Hackman, Raul Jr., Darklight 2013, Arthur Ramil Gaming Bishop, and Kiltastic Jones. And then we have our new tier, the Patron of Light. This is somebody who just did so much that I agreed with them, and they were like, yo, listen, I'm gonna do this. Yo, wouldn't it be crazy if you did this? And I was like, I agree. And then so he suggested the name Patron of Light, and I said, you know what, we're gonna roll with that. Khuja Cross of the Jenova server. Thank you for being the Patron of Light and fighting back the Patrons of Darkness, or I guess I guess technically the demonetization is the Patron of Darkness. We're gonna go with that. Demonetization is the Patron of Darkness, so thank you for combating them. But that is going to be it for the thank yous. Again, if you pledge and your name's not on there, and it's of the tiers and you qualify, send me a message so I know to add you to that list, or that you even want to be on that list in the first place. But on that note, I'm going to hang out with my Twitch chat for a few more minutes, wrap up the YouTube side of things, and I will see all you fine ladies and gentlemen next week. Questions in the comment section thing. Not the comment section. In the description of the video is a thread. Go there and ask questions. So, because it's going to be crazy. Next Monday, you're going to be bored anyway. The server's going to be down. So, ask questions. All right? Do it. All right? I'll see you guys next week. Until then, take care.